Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Tim Cakir on the line, and he's founder and CEO over at AI Operator. Tim, welcome to the show.
Adam, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, Tim. So we got a lot to talk about today, man. We're definitely going to get into your company AI operator and also your angle in AI. I haven't heard too many people with this exact same angle. So love, not fear, turning AI anxiety into competitive fuel. So I want to definitely get into this. And just to get it kicked off here, I'm just curious in your end, AI operator. I see the title here, founder. What was the idea for the company? Like when did this start for you?
Well, the idea was November 31st, 2022, when ChatGPT came along, and I was like, wow, this is shit,
Mm.
but it has massive potential. Right? It wasn't that good at all, right? It couldn't do
Yeah.
much, but it has huge potential. And I was in AI about 11 years ago, but it was computer vision, image recognition in real estate when AI wasn't sexy whatsoever. I was in
Mm.
marketing, so I wasn't technical whatsoever. And we had this 18-month sales cycle. So years later, when ChatGPT comes along and I'm the CEO of a 110 people company, I'm like,
Mm.
wow, okay, this has potential. Then I trained my team members on ChatGPT back then, and we got so much efficiency, even with that crap version. And as it got
Yeah.
better and better, I was like, you know what? I'm leaving here. So I left the CEO role to go and build AI Operator so that I could help many more people on learning how to work with AI to reduce repetitive work and maybe even get rid of boring and repetitive work.
Wow, that's amazing. So, did you have like a tech background and you were kind of prepared for this, or was like, what's your background in general? And were you always like an entrepreneur? I'm curious about that. Go a
Oh,
little bit further
well,
back for me.
yeah, I think maybe more of a hustler, I guess.
I
So when I
like
lived in,
that. I like that. Me too. That's what I tell people. They're like, now we use these fancy words, entrepreneur, this, that. I'm like, no, I just wanted to make some money. I didn't really even know what that word was. when I was a kid, obviously, if it existed.
well, well, at 12 years old, I was selling exam preparation papers at school,
Wow.
and that was illegal.
I was gonna say that you were smarter than me. I was selling baseball cards. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was completely illegal. And one of the kids told the director, and I got in trouble. And it was fun. It was
So
fun.
you were, hold on. So you were an original creator.
I'm not that proud of this story, but here you go.
It's great. Come on, it's fine.
Yeah, and
So
then in LA,
take me further. Take me further
yeah.
into this
Yeah, and
entrepreneur
then
bug.
about 18, 19, I'm in Los Angeles,
Mm.
taking many carpets on a check. I used to leave a check as a deposit. Used to take a lot of Persian and Turkish carpets, put it in a truck, and I would do 2 to 3 months tours of the US and
Oh
sell
wow.
carpets door to door.
No way.
Yeah, yeah, flying carpets.
What was that like? Wow.
Yeah, that was a real hustle. So I worked with for somebody that was doing this business, and I was their telesales, right? So I was calling, cold calling
Whoa.
these numbers to get appointments, and I was quite good at it. You know, my English was good because it was this Turkish people company, and my English
Mm-hmm.
was good. I had this attitude of like, I can get a booking with anyone, right? So that went quite well. And then 2 months later, I was like, oh, I can do this myself. So I left, and then I got a bunch of numbers. Again, I think if you look at it now, it's illegal, but you could buy these invoices from
Mm.
Turkey, from Americans who came to visit Turkey and bought some stuff in the tourist shops. You'd have
Mm-hmm.
these invoices with your numbers, and we from the US could buy these numbers off of
Mm-hmm.
these people. All right. This was early days of Skype or things like that, right? There
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't the
That's when data
internet.
management was different back then. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like people, it
exactly.
was the Wild West. People didn't really know what was going on, and it
Yeah, we
wasn't
didn't
like,
know.
yeah, like no, you weren't like opting in for, it's just like,
Yeah, there was no double opt-in or GDPR or
yeah, and it didn't exist.
California
So
data
yeah,
rights. So
just to be fair, go ahead, please.
yeah, when I look at it now, I'm not proud, but back then, yeah, that was what you did, right?
Yeah, that's fine. So now, as we move into this AI age, like this concept of, love, not fear with AI and all this, like, how do you bring this emotional, like, aspect to it, or even just that part of it? Where does that come from? Because I don't hear too many people talk about that.
Well, the issue is if we look at all the news, it's all negative
Hmm.
news about AI, right? It's going to
Yeah.
replace our jobs and it's terrible and everything's bad, 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 right? Because
Hmm.
negative news travels fast, right? You can amplify negative news very easily, but positive news never gets amplified much, right? If you open the
Hmm.
news channels, you don't.
Unless you're at Mission Matters, Tim, we amplify
Exactly.
story.
That's why I'm here.
Go ahead,
That's
continue.
why.
I had
So
to, man.
that's awesome. No, that's why I brought the positive news as well. And the
Mm,
positive news is that, AI is actually a great collaborative tool. It is an intelligence, it is artificial, but when we work together with it and
mm,
not use it and not see it like AI first or things like that, like these negative connotations that makes us fear what's happening. But instead, if we look at it from a love perspective and we're like, you know what, this is here, you know,
hmm.
let me see what I can do with it, right? And then if we start redesigning how we work and accepting this technology, and what happens is that then the human plus the AI does things that the human or the AI on its own could never achieve. Right.
Hmm.
So when we look at it from this angle and we look at it from an augmentation angle and not a replacement angle, the humans, the people that work in your company, your team members, your colleagues, right? They do incredible work. And I've seen this firsthand. I see it all the time because we do training program, behavior change programs. And when the humans are like, oh my God, I can bring down, I can reduce the repetitive work, the boring work, and I can
Hmm.
focus on what I'm great at. If that's selling, sell. If that's marketing and designing campaigns, do that. But not many people want to do reporting or fill up spreadsheets or many
Yeah.
other things that are admin work. But we all do because every role
Hmm.
has admin work. But
Hmm.
that's not what we want to do. So our high cognitive power is being also used for low cognitive tasks. And this is reducing our intelligence actually. But when we give this low cognitive work to artificial intelligence, we can focus on the high cognitive work. But also
Mm.
AI is a great partner at helping us think outside the box when we look at high cognitive work because every human has tunnel vision. We have experiences. We have this data. We have biased data ourselves, right? So when we work with AI together and we ask something to AI like, help me think this through from 10 different angles or ask me 10 questions about this. What are the pros
Hmm.
and cons of this thinking? It comes up with things you've never thought of, and it really helps you get out of that tunnel vision. And this is where the human and AI collaboration becomes quite magical. And so I decided that I want to amplify this mission. I started even a manifesto, humanaimanifesto.org. I'm
Mm.
writing a book about it now. And my mission, finally, I found the mission, right? After all the hustling
Yeah,
and so
yeah, yeah.
on. Back then, Simon Sinek's book, and what he would ask, why? Your why? My why was money, right? Because,
Hmm.
you had to have money. But now I don't even think about that because I think about how can I help each human work with AI day in, day out. And
Mm.
this has been a life-changing experience for me and for anyone I'm working with.
Mm. Go for it. Thanks for sharing that. And I like the heart behind it. And I think this is just a testament to people taking different, as well, different approaches to what's happening, because it's happening either way, is what I like to tell people. I'm like, you got to find your place in this, you know? And talk a little bit more about AI Operator and like the work that you're doing and maybe the type of clients that are a good fit to work with you and your team.
Absolutely. I mean, we're trying to answer this every day, how to
Hmm.
operationalize AI in your business.
Mm.
Right? This is the big question that
What
we're
size of
answering.
business is typically, or is there a size or a sweet spot? Like, go a little
Yeah.
bit further. There's a lot of people that listen to this, and I want to make sure that at the end of this, I'll give the opportunity to leave contact information, that kind of stuff. I want to make sure the right people follow up with you. So, what kind of like size of business? Is there a specific industry? Go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, well, the craziest that I've had is I've trained Google Teams on Gemini.
Hmm.
Right. So it's one of the biggest companies in
That's
the world.
funny.
Yeah. That was the funniest thing in my career. I still can't believe
Hmm.
it. I was like, "Are you guys real? Like, do you
Mm.
want me to do this?" And they're like, "Yeah." It was business teams, by the way, not technical teams, not the
Yeah,
Google
yeah.
Cloud.
Well, of
You know,
course, not the people that built it.
but
Yeah.
it was a great experience. It was an incredible experience. So that's like kind of the biggest company we work with. It's
Hmm.
not our sweet spot whatsoever. Our sweet spot right now that we've been finding in the last 6 months is private equity firms,
Mm.
PE firms that has about 40 to 60 companies in their portfolios, right?
Mm.
So what we're doing is we train the portfolio company people, right? All the team members, they get
Yep.
efficiency, they understand AI, and they're like, wow, we can work with this. We understand the strengths, the weaknesses. This is incredible. And then they introduce us to their portcos, and their portcos sometimes the PE firm brings all the CEOs and we do a workshop with all the CEOs. Then the CEO sees the potential and then brings us to the portcos. or the PE firm introduces us to the portcos directly and says, hey, you got to take this behavior change program today because, as you said, AI is here. No matter what, we have to choose our side in this and where do we play a role. So
Hmm.
private equity firms has been great. Also agencies, a lot of marketing agencies, different types of marketing agencies. It's been great because they have these client-facing services. So if you have really client-facing services, usually they're quite old school, in this day and age, and you gotta
Hmm.
innovate that. You gotta bring AI, and you gotta be able to work with AI, but still have this human in the loop because you can't just automate everything and be like, okay, AI is doing the job, because then their clients could do that themselves, right?
Hmm.
But we're making the humans a tastemaker. We're making them the orchestrator, the decider, right? They're responsible for the work. The
Mm.
AI operator. This is why it's called AI operator. I want to make humans AI operators, right? So they operate all these AIs and they're the orchestrator. They're the AI operator in the middle. So it really works for many different companies. We have tech companies of 500 to
Mm.
600 people as well. But private equity has been great because then my mission can be amplified much faster.
Yeah. So I like people to definitely walk away when they when they give us their time and attention to tune into this show with some takeaways and some things that they can implement. Now, obviously, I want people to follow up with you and to take full trainings and to go deep. But if somebody's been kind of like thinking about AI, they kind of don't know how to approach it, and they're kind of thinking about what are some of the first things that if you were creating like a short checklist of things that people should be considering as they even reframe their thinking. I don't know, however you want to answer that. What would be on that checklist? Like, what would be those things that people should prioritize?
Well, I think that I'm going to bring it to my methodology that I'm writing a book about is the
Hmm.
adopt method. So align, develop, operationalize, practice, and then transformation. So you got to
Mm.
align. You got to align with yourself, with your team. You got to align even with the tools that you're working with. Then you got to develop those skills. You got to practice, practice, practice in the development, but you got to operationalize it and then continue to practice and learn and fail and make mistakes very quickly so that you can keep innovating. And then
Mm.
then you come to your transformation, right? So there are steps. It takes time. Don't worry. You are not late, right? Because a lot of people makes you
Hmm.
feel like that you're very late because of the news. But I speak to a lot of companies every day and everybody's still in the beginning, right? A lot of people
Yeah.
hasn't even started. So don't have this fear, relax, but for sure start taking a look at it and
Hmm.
you got to practice. And if the output is shit in the beginning, the next day is a little bit better. A month
Hmm.
later is like, wow, in this process, I'm getting really good. That's fine.
Hmm.
It is going to take time. Don't rush it, but make sure that you're practicing every day.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. And I think that time part of it, it's like anything that's been worthwhile, any business system, anything that you work towards, everything took time. So why would people put an unrealistic expectation on this part of adding this to their life? It takes time, right? Like
Because the fear, because the
yeah.
news, it's everywhere, right? Even in the Super Bowl, everywhere you look around right now, it's AI, 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 AI. And so you believe that
Hmm.
everybody's on it and you're the only one that is not on it yet, right? And that
Mm.
creates this fear and this FOMO. I have a lot of people messaging me. It's like, I'm having FOMO. I'm like, don't worry, come, let's talk about it. Relax. You're still good,
Yeah.
but we don't have maybe in a year's time, especially I think end of 2027 or so, I'll be like, yeah, now it's getting very late, right? But last
Mm.
year was quite early adopters. This year, I think it's more mass market, and next year is going to be the late adopters and the late people. So you got to be careful not to leave it to next year, but you got to make sure that you have a plan about it for this year.
Mm. It's wonderful. Tim, man, this has been a lot of fun having you on the show today. And I know you have so much more to offer. If people want to follow up and if they want to learn more, they want to connect, how do they do that?
Very simple, aroperator.com, everything's there, my LinkedIn, or here's my direct email for everybody, tim@aroperator.com.
Fantastic. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so that you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So, again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Tim, man, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Adam, thank you very much for having me.